access to receive messages of clarity, guidance, and love. As channeler, psychotherapist, and author, Noemi Grace has an intimate dialogue with the divine on your behalf. Lisa Berry, creator of the show Light on Living, will be co-hosting as live callers ask their burning question on self-love, self-healing, deepening relationships, areas of struggle, and next steps. By simply listening in, you're receiving wisdom that will lead to sacred stability from every channeled message that Noemi delivers. Join us now as we give you access to angels and grace. Oh, welcome everyone, and hello there, my lovely co-host and channeler, Noemi Grace.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. It's such a pleasure to be here every time. And I just love hearing your voice on our intro. Yes, there is. I love that intro.
Oh, well, I think this is such a sacred show to me. It means a lot to me because I know that every time we show up, that it's helping somebody out there, and all of our themes and topics seem to really resonate with so many, including myself and you. Well, you wrote the book.
I channeled it.
Oh, right. Well, actually, I'm going to share our topic and theme right away because I love when you read a few paragraphs from your book because it always relates. It's always perfect. But this is a topic that came up, a theme that a lot of people were sharing things, but it wasn't just one word. And then I thought, oh my goodness, all these struggles and challenges that people are really getting weighed down by and stuck with. And what it was is, it's a funny word. It's dissatisfaction, being dissatisfied. And we'll go into a few of the questions that came up and the statements that people have been making that I know that, when somebody's just really in a situation, they make a statement, and that's really a cry for help or a request for help.
Yes.
So
yes, for sure.
If you have something in your book there, that paragraph that seems to call out to this.
Yeah, so there's it's a few paragraphs here, and it's in chapter 5 and under the message called Deepen Your Acceptance. And it is talking about that, the imperfection, the things that we are dissatisfied with. And so I'll just read a few paragraphs. This is on page 107. You all have reasons to feel good about yourselves, yet many of you are unaware of them. You focus and obsess over perceived failings and shortcomings, yet your greatest failures are here to shed light on your greatest strengths, assets, gifts, beauty, and light. Without those failings, you would live in complacency and mediocrity, never experiencing your fullness. Learn to see your struggles as allies. They are here to help you appreciate parts of yourself that you would not experience if things went perfectly according to your plan. Actually, everything is perfect in this moment. It may be difficult for you to see what is perfect about illness, bankruptcy, or the loss of a loved one. The perfection in those painful experiences is that they offer you a breakthrough opportunity to choose love and live in love. They shake you out of complacency. They are the alarm bells ringing that announce it is time for you to awaken. What will you do when the alarm rings? Will you hit the snooze button and return to sleeping in unconsciousness? Will you deny the presence of the alarm or see yourself as a victim of the alarm? Or will you see it as a reminder that more love is available to you? Everything in life is a reminder for you to love yourself more and to awaken out of the stupor of unconscious living.
That word snooze button always gets me. I'm like, oh, we're so familiar with that snooze button. It's like, we're not ready yet. I'm not ready to do this yet. But we are also dissatisfied with things. And that was a perfect paragraph to, a few paragraphs to bring up perfection in the plan, because I know how many people think, is this really going according to plan? Really? It is a tough one.
Well, it is a tough one, and we have our own plan. And I remember channeling on a show a while ago where a woman was talking about wanting to get some clarity about why she was having a long-term issue with her voice and expressing herself. And there was something that came through that was, you are always part of our plan, but our plans may not include your plans. And so we always have plans when we're going through our days. And of course, it's good to have goals. Otherwise, we will be in mediocrity and complacency, as the divine says there. But it is to really know that nothing is a mistake.
Wrong. Right.
That every mistake, in quotes, that we experience is opening us up to something more, something greater, a deeper level of trust, a deeper level of dissatisfaction, which at times can then cause us to make different decisions than we would make.
Yes, you made me think of the mystique in the mistake. No, but you're right, because I love that. I have to highlight that you said that. So I'm scooching along, and I have a plan, and it does include source and divine and universe, and then all of a sudden something happens, and I went, no, but it's that universe had their own plan, and I just wasn't aware of it. But it is a gift in it, and that is so interesting. Now, when we talk about being dissatisfied, I really sat with that word, because I thought there's kind of two states, that I look at my life when I'm dissatisfied. I can either be dissatisfied and just go, well, nothing's going to change, I'm just dissatisfied. It's not my fault. Everybody else is blah, blah, blah. Or I can be dissatisfied and start, get off my butt and go, well, I got to fix this. I got to look for something. I've got to, find something. So my first question that came up around this, and we can either ask just you, Noemi, or you could channel this, but what is the difference in dissatisfaction between searching for something and waiting for something to get us out of dissatisfaction?
Okay, well, I'm hearing what they're saying. It's short, so I can speak it without doing the formal shift over to the divine. But waiting for something, waiting means we're not in the present moment. Waiting means we've resigned ourselves. We've surrendered, not in a healthy way, but just kind of passive. It's that passive bystander in life. It is becoming powerless until this thing happens. And then we get attached to waiting for something specific. And now that something specific may never happen. Or it may take a very long time. Waiting to meet the one. Waiting for a better job to show itself. Waiting for financial abundance. Waiting, that disempowers us. And so, so waiting, but there's waiting, the kind of waiting that's just being present and open and receptive. There's that kind of waiting, which isn't really so much waiting.
Right.
Because you're in the present moment.
It's allowing.
What was that?
Oh, it's more like allowing. A present, being present and waiting is allowing. I'm here to accept. I'm in alignment.
Wow, all those A words, allowing, acceptance, alignment, those are big words. Those are definitely big words.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I was just like blown away when you said, "Oh my gosh, when we're waiting, we are powerless until something happens." That hit me hard. I was like, "Whoa, all right." I know, you hear that so much, and also that, of course, makes me think of waiting in line for something, waiting for it to move up. But I think that's a lot of people are just saying, "Well, I'm just waiting for this to happen. I'm waiting for them to do this. I'm waiting for these." Yeah. So it is powerless, and. How can, if somebody's in that state right now and they're just and they know that language, they're like, oh, I say I'm waiting for this, waiting for that. How does that highlight, or how can we use that to help show us where we're being dissatisfied in that area of our life?
Okay. I'm going to switch this over to the divine, and I will ask them about the waiting and dissatisfaction and what they are desirous to share. And so for anyone who hasn't heard our show before, I take a few seconds. I connect first soul to soul, heart to heart with whomever, so I'm doing that with Lisa right now. And then I take a few seconds to get silence, to go within, to open the channel, which is already open, but deepen that channel with the divine. And then a couple more seconds, and I greet the divine, and they start to talk. So silence is golden in this case. Hello, Divine. Here with Lisa, my lovely co-host, and we're wanting to know about how waiting. How can we? I'll just ask you to talk about waiting and dissatisfaction because I can't formulate the question right now. But you know what Lisa was asking, and so. In this state of waiting and dissatisfaction, how waiting, I think Lisa's question was how waiting can point us to what we're dissatisfied. And perhaps waiting is to point us to something else. So I'm receptive. We're very pleased with this question because we see so many of you waiting for something else, waiting for things to be different, waiting for things to align and line up for you, waiting for doors to be open. You know that one, Noemi Grace. You were waiting and waiting and waiting. And we were observing that as you were waiting and knew you would eventually get out of the waiting. So waiting in and of itself is an indicator that you are not completely satisfied with the present moment, with what is. And there is certainly nothing wrong, and it is very important to desire more in your life. But to wait for more to happen is to wait in powerlessness, as Noemi Grace said, and it is to be that bystander. It is to not access all of the tools and abilities that you have to transform your life. You all have a toolkit, a toolbox that has tools in it. If you open the box, some of you will see a few tools. Some will see it's jammed full. Some will see a toolbox full of all kinds of tools, but they're in disarray. And so you don't even know which one to use because you have assimilated so many tools. But waiting, allow that sense of waiting and listen to yourselves as you talk. I'm waiting for this, or the thoughts, oh, when that happens, or I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when means you will never be happy because that when will never happen exactly according to how you think. Or you will be happy when that when is, so you meet the person of your dreams and you'll be happy. And then they will be imperfect and they may do something insensitive and you will become unhappy again. And so can you find satisfaction, contentment, peace, any of these in the present moment? It is good to know that you're dissatisfied because if you don't know that you're dissatisfied, you will never reach for more because it is easiest to just stay with the status quo, to stay with what is. And so it is important to recognize dissatisfaction. We do not see it as a negative thing, although many of you do. We see it as an opportunity for growth, for quantum leaping, for accelerating, for turning to a new direction and a new course which will align so much more with your soul and what it is that resonates with you. That's what we see the waiting and the dissatisfaction for. But again, Don't wait for something external. Dissatisfaction is an internal signal that the external is not in alignment with your soul, with your essence, with the truth of who you are. Seek to become more in alignment with yourself every day. Meditate. Read or have spiritual experiences. Open yourself to connect with us in nature, in prayer, in meditation, in taking a bath, whatever way connects you to that which is greater than you. And start to be internally shifting so that when you shift enough internally, the outer will be easy to change. When you are not in alignment internally with what it is that you want externally, you're not going to manifest that very easily. If you want a better relationship, but you stay in a hurtful relationship, that manifestation isn't going to happen right away for you. That you need to shift internally to create the shift externally. And so see dissatisfaction as, oh, something more, something greater is available to me. I want to open up to that. I want to go within and get into alignment with that, and then see what presents itself and see what I am feeling, the impulse to do, the desire to do. And that is, we'll stay with that for now, and we will share so much more through this show. For this moment, we are complete. Namaste.
I love that. Awareness through dissatisfaction. We're going to head to commercials, and when we're back, more goodies on dissatisfaction and the benefits of it.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
The universe is eager to help you and give you clarity. You only need to be willing to ask your burning question and listen to the answer Source wants you to have. As a channeler of divine messages, I take your questions directly to the divine and hear what Source is longing to tell you. I'm Noemi Grace, and my co-host Lisa Berry and I welcome you to join us as a listener or caller on Access to Angels and Grace, 2 Wednesdays a month. Call in, ask your most burning questions, hear the divine's exact words giving you guidance and clarity. Access to Angels and Grace, where messages of joy await you.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
birds just sang. And I just love that music.
I love our music too.
We chose that specifically for all of our listeners because, yes, you and I both just enjoy that floating, light, compassionate, smooth, with ease kind of clarity. And I think that's what we're trying to deliver to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, that music is just, it uplifts me. It just takes me, that was South American flute, so it takes me high up, like in the mountains, like above the mundane and the mediocre.
Yes. Oh, now that's hey, great words for our topic today about talking about being dissatisfied. Look at this mediocre life and mundaneness. Well, that's actually the great. I'd like to everyone listening. I want to highlight that Noemi Grace is actually not just an author and not just our lovely channeler here, but she is a psychotherapist. You run a full-time practice. You're very busy. You teach classes. You have a full client load, and as you're a psychotherapist, Noemi, I would love to ask you something. I know a lot of people, and I'm trying to think of if I've ever been in this situation, but I definitely know that my clients as a life coach and friends have been here. They recognize that they're dissatisfied, and they either go in two ways. They say, you know what, I don't want to rock the boat. I start messing around with wanting things, and then I'll get disappointed that I don't. So I'm going to stay happy being not happy. I'm going to stay happy being dissatisfied, and I'm going to double question you on this one. They can either think, you know what, why bother trying? There's nothing in the world. Everything's all used up. There's lack everywhere. Everybody's taken everything. Nothing's new. There's no fish in the sea left. So. Like those are so disempowering, both of those, and I'll let you pick on each one. But like, how do we even get ourselves out of those ruts?
So both of those ruts, we have been trained to believe so many disempowering things about us, and so thinking there's not enough for you, that that lack-based, I spent a lot of my life in lack, so I really can personally relate to that one. And it wasn't really until I shifted out of lack mentally that this book actually came out. The book was written, but I was in such lack that it wasn't going anywhere except for my computer. And, so it really is about us. It's all about changing on the inside. And that's what I tell clients. Yes, you have to make some external changes. If you are in an unhealthy relationship, maybe the best thing is to leave, but maybe it is for you to change and then see what transpires in the relationship. But no matter what is going on the outside, if we don't change on the inside, our experience remains the same. So you can change the relationship and still feel the same level of dissatisfaction, the same type of discontent in that. You can change your job and still be miserable. And so we need to change on the inside, and everything that we need really is coming from the inside, and inside of us is that connection to source. And so between aligning ourselves on the inside with the truth of who we are and aligning ourselves to source, then we can much more easily change things on the outside. And it's easier to believe that there isn't anything for us than to be hurt.
Oh.
Because, right, we've all been hurt. It hurts to be hurt. It's painful. And so it's easy to believe that, I have clients that'll say, yeah, nothing good ever happens to me. Or, me, it was good for a while, but it has to fall apart. And I said, no, I don't know that. But you seem to know that, and so that's what you get, Yes, so whatever we know is what we experience. And what we know is what we believe most of the time. And what we believe is not really true, but it's true for us.
I like that. What we know we experience. Hold on here. Hold on. Like that. What we know experience. So if we could know something different, which is usually, well, it's a belief. So it doesn't mean it's always happened. Something happened maybe once, and then turn that into a belief, and so that's what you know, so you're going to keep on experiencing it. And I have a fun suggestion for everybody. I love doing script shifting when we change what we're thinking and saying. And what if we start recognizing that we're not a failure, we're not failing when we recognize dissatisfaction? Like, that's actually a success.
That's really, really great. And that's, sometimes the mind has a trouble embracing that. Yes, because it's saying there's more here for you in life. There's more opportunity. There's something else that's available to you, but you're stuck in your rut. And so, yes, dissatisfaction is showing up. It's those, as I read in the chapter there, the alarm bell's ringing. It's the alarm going off. Hello, wake up. Stop living just this way of, default, living by default, as Abraham says, just not being alive. Living but not being alive, or being alive and not living, however you want to look at it. But it's that, just that mundane, that everyday SSDD stuff, same stuff, different day. Well, every day offers us opportunities to experience something different. Yes, you may still have to go to work, cook for your children and all of that, but your experience of that can be different.
Yes. Yeah, and how you think about things and look. And I love that you say the internal. So here's a fun question on this one. We know that we have to make, we know it's internal love shifting, but we know it's external that it's, sorry, I want to clarify this. Do we have to change things externally in order to, or were we saying that no, it's got to be from the inside and not external?
Well, yeah, somewhere in my book it says live life from the inside out. So you want to change inside. Recognizing the importance of changing inside. And Abraham talks about becoming a vibrational match for what you desire, what they say is in your vortex. And so people that want to know more about that can certainly on YouTube, there's plenty of videos on Abraham. But so whatever you desire gets into this, what they call a vortex. So all of that desire is kind of queued up. And if we are not a match for it, then we don't manifest it. So if we're wanting abundance, which most of us do, who doesn't want abundance, but we're lack-minded, lack-based. Oh, I don't have time for that. That's a lack. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I don't have money for that. Oh, if only I could do that. So all of that is, the lack is pervasive. What's that?
Right. That's like you're hitting the snooze button. So every one of us thinks those things. It's like, oh, I hit the snooze button on my abundance. Oops, hit the snooze button on that, receiving that.
Yeah. And so there's an internal change. So I've studied lots of different spiritual traditions, and in the shamanic traditions, they talk about the outer world being a mirror, a reflection of your inner world. And so if there's chaos outside, there's chaos inside. If there's dissatisfaction outside, there's dissatisfaction inside. And that when your inner world changes enough, your outer world has no choice but to change, to match that. Okay. Because it...
Let's ask Source this one question then. This will be a fun one. It's about that mirroring. So if everybody right now, if you are dissatisfied and that's good. Remember, that's a success. And then we're asking you to look at your life. What is it you're dissatisfied now? If they are dissatisfied with the people around them, either their friends, because there's going to go one of two ways. This is my question for Source. If we look and treat that using that mirror analogy and truth, if our friends, if we are either afraid to shine and have a lot and be satisfied because our friends are dissatisfied, or we're blaming our friends that they are causing this dissatisfaction and it's their fault, how do we have a shift internally to be able to change what we see in the mirror?
Okay. So seeing others as dissatisfied, so not wanting to shine too much, or blaming them for your dissatisfaction.
Yes.
Okay. I think we have just enough time before the next commercial. All right. A couple seconds here. Hello, Source. So grateful to be here again with you, and still really with you, and just looking for whatever wisdom you can share about how we can shift internally if we're afraid to shine, for those who are afraid to shine because those around them are not shining too brightly, or are those who are blaming others for their dissatisfaction. This is an excellent question. And we will start with the blame piece first, because blame has become so natural. It is the default for so many of you. So many of you blame yourselves, but many of you blame other people. And really, there is no one to blame. Not even yourself, but not anyone else either. Whatever exists in your life is there. Everything is an opportunity for you to learn to love yourself more, as Noemi Grace read, and it is an opportunity for you to become more. Everything that shows up in your life is an opportunity for you to be more, to become more, to share more, to love more, to live more. And so the blame attributes some quality of ownership to someone, whether it's yourself or another person, and that quality of ownership is not helpful, because it isn't anyone's fault. It's all the choices that you make eventually create the consequences and create the backdrop of your life. It's the landscape of your life. So if you made a poor choice, it's not your fault. At the moment you made that choice, you may have thought it was the best choice, or you may have chosen it impulsively. Maybe you have a history of doing that, and you haven't learned yet to choose, from within, from your inner alignment. So we don't see anything as to blame. We don't see anything as, fault. You attribute fault to so much. It is the human condition, the human mindset that you attribute fault. It's this person's fault. It's my fault. It's nobody's fault. And so this fault, this blame allows you to become victims. So the person who can't shine is a victim of those, because others don't shine, is a victim of those who are living in dim light, of those who are struggling. And the person who blames others for their own lack of satisfaction is also a victim. As long as you are a victim, you have no power. Two things: you have no power and you are not happy. We have not yet met a happy victim, and we have not met a powerful victim. So you yourself are limiting yourself. You are relegating yourself to this dissatisfaction, to the perpetuation of dissatisfaction and the pervasiveness of dissatisfaction. We agree with Lisa that dissatisfaction is a success. It is a success of your soul getting your attention and saying, wake up, this is not good for you, or this is so much less than what you are capable of, or what you deserve, and what is available for you. So blaming anybody is not helping you. It is keeping you powerless and unhappy. Start to let go of that victim mindset of the blame and say, what if there is nobody to blame? What if I'm not a victim? What if I can choose this instead? I can choose something else and make my life more in alignment with who I am and what I want. And so going within and really shifting yourself, growing yourself, loving yourself, learning who you are, learning yourself, knowing yourself, all of these things will help you to make the outside shift. Recognize when you are blaming, when you are shaming, when you are guilting. All of that is the victim mindset. And the victim mindset has kept millions and millions and millions of you through history, billions, trillions, mired in the muck of dissatisfaction. When you could so easily move out if you stop being a victim. And so this is a really important point to really be aware of where you're being a victim in your life, of where any lack-based thinking is a sign that you are being a victim, because you are capable of so much more than you could ever imagine. And we would love to see you step out of that smallness, because the victims are in smallness, and step out of that limitedness into seeing how unlimited you truly are. We are here for you to help you in this transition, in this shift. For this moment, we are complete again. Namaste.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got a lot out of that one, and I have to say, we're gonna come back to this topic after this last commercial break, but ready for this, Noemi? This was beautiful. Dissatisfaction shows us where to start, and you are a victim. Where you are a victim in your life is where you start. So let's come back to that. Ooh, it's so juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
For those times when you're looking for insight and additional tools to living your most elevated life, there's no better place to turn than Intuitive Alchemy Radio. Join me, Laura Brown, each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations, live on-the-air readings, and tools to help you build your most aligned, most abundant, and most delicious life.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
I was waiting for the final little twinkle there.
Yeah, me too. Little twinkle. Twinkle, little star.
Yes. You know, Noemi, there's a commercial that just came, well, the last one we just heard, and I heard the word, well, because there's a whole other topic, but being evicted, and I was like, oh, that sounds like victim, and we were just talking about victims, and I thought, oh, wouldn't that be fun if we all took a stand and evicted ourselves from being a victim?
Or evict the victim out of your mind.
Yes.
Pack your bags. Go ahead.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly. So this is the thing. So I was going to ask this question, but now we don't even need to channel this one because I really want to hear what, because Source already just talked about this. But the question really was where a lot of people say, oh, right. Okay, I'm recognizing that I've got dissatisfaction in this area and that area, and now, because of Noemi and Lisa, we now know that that's a success, but okay, so where do I start? And then we kind of talked about it. Well, you got to align with your inside and your inner being, but what came out there was dissatisfaction shows us where to start, and where you are a victim is where you start. So, Noemi, what kind of statements would somebody be saying or thinking in their what areas of their lives would that come up in, like, in a victim mentality that we could flip
that
around?
can come up in any area of our life. So sometimes we're pervasively victims, blame, just, oh, I was having a good night's sleep, but you snored and woke me up, and and maybe that was true, but okay, so what happened?
Yeah,
and,
that snore's bad.
I speak from personal experience. I'm not the snorer. I'm the snoree. But so we can be victims. We've been trained to be victims, and we've seen it in all the media and all movies and just the things we've read as children and the things we've learned to say, we've listened to and heard, and so we've been trained to be victims, and I think that's why, and there's no offense taken here, because I actually considered this for a career, which is being an attorney. Why attorneys are paid, really top-end attorneys are going to be paid the same as top-end life-saving surgeons, because we want to make sure nobody's taking advantage of us. Like, we want to be able to say no, and certainly I'm not saying let people take advantage of you, and I'm not one that says we should turn the other cheek, even though it's been said, but it's that place of recognizing I've got power. So in my life, I had an experience where I started my psychotherapy practice, and I was working in a clinic, and I started this practice about a quarter mile away, and there was no non-compete clause in my contract, and it was discovered through a very strange way. Somebody sent a fax out, my business partner sent a fax out to someplace about our business, and it came back to the fax machine, and so the boss found out that we started this business, and the boss fired us and said, you can't have a practice a quarter mile away, you're gone. And I was like, whoa, here I was, 50 years old, getting fired. I was just like, what? I've never been fired. I was like, and yet it was, the one thing I said is, I'm not going to be a victim about this. And so partner said, well, what does that mean? What will you be if you're not a victim? I said, I have no idea, but I'm not going to be a victim. I have no idea, because the only thing I know how to do right now is be a victim, but I'm not going to be a victim. And that mindset started to, created this private practice for clients, and I am having to turn people away, unfortunately, because the phone is ringing and I don't have as much capacity as there are people that are looking for the help. And so I guess it's a good problem to have, but I'm grateful for that. And that for me was a turning point when I said, I will not be a victim. And I just started to become more aware in my life of wherever else I was a victim, which was plenty of places. So
let's languaging here. The opposite of a victim would be all-powerful. Any other kind of words, languaging? If somebody was going to say, I won't be a victim, but if they spun that around to, what will you be? That's a tricky one. So I've heard people,
yes, and I've heard people say, oh, victim or victor. And to me, victor means conquering, conquesting. Yeah. So I just see it as being fully in your power, whatever that means for you. Just nothing taking away from your power.
Right.
Standing in your power. Standing in your power.
Is it strong? No, because it's not always strong. You can be very gentle and still be in your power.
Oh, absolutely. And gentle power is very powerful. Right? Power over. It's that personal power. It's a self-power. Standing in your own personal power. And so, which is not power over anybody else. And so, for me, it is being in your power as the opposite, because victims are powerless. So it is choosing my power to create, my power to change myself, my power to change my life, my willingness, right? So victims are also unwilling. The divine is saying, okay, so I'm hearing from the divine. The victims are also, in addition to being powerless and dissatisfied, they're unwilling. Right? They're unwilling to change. Why should I, why should I leave this relationship though I'll never find one that's better? There's not going to be, or nothing ever works out for me, or, every time it starts going, the shoe drops, the other shoe drops, something starts good. And so all of that, so the willingness, embracing the willingness to stand in your power and the willingness to change, because victims don't change either.
Yes. Oh my
They
gosh,
stay powerless. They stay unhappiness. They're unhappy. They stay unwilling. They might shift their circumstances, maybe get a different job, but they're still a victim. So they're seeing from that mindset. And in my book, the Divine talks a lot about victim consciousness and filters and how we perceive things in our lives, and that our default way of perception is through judgment and victim consciousness. That's what we've learned. The majority of us have learned to see things, and that the shift in perception from that to eyes of love, seeing with eyes of love, changes everything for you.
Okay, you hit on some big one there. So I have to go to the judgment and eyes of love there, but really quickly, the one thing is that confidence. Confidence comes up in my world a lot. That word is very important in my world, and that's what I want to help others find their confidence in them. But I have to say something. Well, you just brought up a whole goodie bag there, but because I am so, I try to be so, I don't know if it's the Libra in me or not, but I truly try to be so fair and non-blaming that I think, well, wait a second, how do I even know that I am dissatisfied that I must be judging, right? Because because I think, so judgment is tricky, because in order for me to know that I'm dissatisfied, I must be judging whether this thing's good for me or good for, and mostly, and where I'm coming from on this one, this is a big one. I was in a relationship years ago, and it's a very loving word, but it was thrown at me in a very negative way. And they would say, well, you're just content with your life. And I was like, yes, I am. Actually, I'm quite happy and at peace. But because they were judging from, you're just always happy and everything's okay. And I was like, yes. It doesn't mean I don't certainly have a lot of drive, but, and so I wondered if we could just talk about that word, content, judgment, and coming from eyes of love, judgment, and you can be dissatisfied, but without judgment.
Yes. So when you see with eyes of love, you're able to see. So if someone's angry with you and you're like, what's wrong with them? Why are they being such a whatever you want to call it? And if you see with eyes of love, you can see the vulnerability. Oh. Maybe the boss really embarrass them in front of their colleagues today, or that they have had just this life where they've been beaten down so much. You can see that vulnerability. You can have compassion. It doesn't mean you make it right. It doesn't mean if someone's angry and rageful with you that it's right for you, because that's not self-loving. Because when you see with eyes of love, you see yourself with love as well. And so you see yourself, if you're in a relationship where you're receiving that kind of judgment, that kind of put downs, all of that negative vibration, and you're seeing with eyes of love, you will be able to see that you're not being self-loving, because you're allowing yourself to be consistently put down and diminished. And so it isn't that you make things right, when they're wrong, and right and wrong, we won't get into the definition of those, but if they're not right for you, okay? So we'll say if they're out of alignment with the truth of who you are, or if they're hurting you, and there are things that happen to us that, that are hurting us because, we overworked ourselves at the gym or whatever, and that's different than, maybe than choosing to stay in a relationship where you're getting hurt day in, day out. So that ability to recognize with eyes of love, I'd rather be with somebody than be with nobody, because being alone with myself, I don't like myself enough to be alone with myself. That kind of vulnerability you can see with eyes of love, and then you can have compassion for that. And when you can have compassion for that, then you can change it.
I like that you partnered the words vulnerability with compassion, because vulnerable, again, we can use that. So like, you're so vulnerable, or you feel naked and raw, ready to be hurt. But with compassion, it really softens it. And we've thrown out a lot. Like, wow, this particular episode, Noemi, has been packed with emotion, and I can feel it swirling around. And so I know that you are so just amazing for stepping into your power as a channeler, and you offer this to people who are just like Yeah, just in search. I want more. I am dissatisfied. I am looking for something. I don't know where to start. What the heck? And my gosh, my life's a mess. We're going to invite them to reach out to you.
Okay, so great question. So on my website, which is noemigrace.com, so that's NOEMIGRACE.com/access is a special offer for our listeners where you can receive an answer and to a channel. I can channel a message for you in answer to your burning question, whether you were looking for your next steps or you're struggling with something, whatever that is. The divine can help you find your best answer, and I can channel that for you. And I love to do that, and it's really brings me joy, and it really helps people. So, and on that website, noemigrace.com, under the Divine Answers tab, you'll see lots and lots of testimonials. So I have, this gift, and I'm using it to help people. So people have shared how it's benefited them. And so that's one way that you can find me. I have a blog there on my noemigrace.com, but also through my special offer. And then I have a Facebook author page, Noemi Grace author. And you just search on @NoemiGraceAuthor, and you will find it. So you can like me there, or I have posts there frequently, bite-sized nuggets of divine wisdom, or I'll post our shows and interviews I do and things like that. So those are the best ways to find me. And I really do enjoy this connecting, and so I'd love to hear from any of you that are listening that maybe have any questions. I'm happy to connect with you. So you can fill out the form on my noemigrace.com/access and send me an email, and I will get back to you.
And this is actually the fun part, is that I know that we're wrapping up here, but I met Noemi because she is an author, and on my show, Light on Living, every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, I interview authors, and Noemi had been introduced to me. I read her book. We had a great connection, of course, as you can tell, and I thought, oh my gosh, you help people get access to answers, angel answers, and I knew I had to do this because I can see how much this helps. And if you go to my Facebook page at Lisa Berry, Berry, like a strawberry, the low glycemic fruit, you can see some other things. I love to announce when Noemi and I are going to be going live. We're going to pick that back up in December, but the biggest invitation I want to make to everybody right now is we have great shows when we hear your burning questions. So when the more we hear from you guys, and let us know what is it you are struggling with, need clarity, and my favorite one that I think is my new word is that you're searching for. And the searching, it's so funny. I think that people think, oh, I'm searching for an answer. I'll jump on a channeled message with Noemi, and then boom, the search will be over. But I'm promising you guys, the journey has just begun, and it's so much fun. You get answers, but it's kind of the answers that are like satisfying clues and crumbs, and you get to go along the way. That's how I kind of look at it, Noemi.
Right. Yes, the divine wants you to, Source wants us to be able to access our own answers. And so through the channeled messages, I help people to do that so that you're not always needing to go externally to get your answers, that you know that you can trust what feels right for you, what your heart is telling you, what your soul is telling you. And so I don't know if I mentioned the name of my book, so I'm going to mention it here, and it's on Amazon, An Intimate Dialogue with God, The Miraculous Power of Unconditional Self-Love. And it is the whole book's been channeled, except for my experiences that I share in the book. I'm pretty vulnerable, actually, speaking of that word. But so many messages from the divine about self-love and how to free yourself from being a victim, and really wonderful things.
And actually, it's kind of neat that you get to talk about how the book's wonderful, because you co-wrote it with Source, and so it's you're able to channel it that way. And everybody, when you do tune into the Facebook Lives, what our goal is there, as Noemi just said, we want to make you self-sufficient and remind you that you already are. So Noemi actually runs through and teaches us how to develop our own intuition, and that's why you really want to tune into those lives and share them with other people, so that you've got these people around. You're surrounding yourself with these circle of just compassionate, loving, bright lights that are working and saying, yes, dissatisfaction, here I come. I'm gonna get back onto an aligned path here. So I just love inviting everybody to everything, Noemi. This is all so much fun, and I love access to angels and grace. But
yes, I do too.
Well, Noemi, I will see you back on Access to Angels and Grace in December, as well as our Facebook Lives, and I'm going to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving in the U.S.
Yes,
for next week.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so very much, Noemi. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Lisa. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.